Today we are going to be discussing a modality that I believe is going to become more and more mainstream as word spreads about it and how incredible it is. And I love that science is kind of starting to prove how important the health of our cells in our body are. And so I wanted to bring on yet another healing modality that is available to all of us. That was incredible. And so I asked Elizabeth, who is a practitioner of biophoton therapy, to come join us today and share about how the healing process works. I'll share a little bit about my own personal experience with it as well, and just any of the other tools that you use and work with. I'd love to have other people have the opportunity to hear about what other options we have out there to heal our bodies and feel our best. So welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I do a lot of fun things in my office. We have a lot of fun things. And the most important one is the biophoton machine that I have. And biophotons are it's actually light that is emitted by every single cell in your body. And this was discovered in the 1970s, and how the whole world didn't stop and have this become like the whoa, the discovery of the century, because it's amazing. We truly are beings of light, and it's not just spiritual, it's scientific now. And I love it when science finally catches up to the spirituality of things. All most religions have already incorporated that we are beings of light, and that is a known belief. But yet, when science finally catches up and says, no, you are truly, truly a being of light, I think that is the most beautiful thing. So, yeah, so that's what the biophotons are. But light is a frequency, like everything, and that light can be coherent with your body or resonant with your body, or it can get chaotic and it can get dissonant with your body, so are out of whack. And so the main thing that the machine will do is it just filters out that light like a dialysis system. So like you're not getting your blood out, it doesn't hurt. It's your light in your body, which is a very natural flow of things. And it will take that light and it will recognize what is coherent, what is you, and what is all messed up and all dissonant. And it will invert that chaotic light and cancel it out. So then you're left with just your body's own light. So that alone is so healing, because you're taking out anything that is causing you stress and getting you back into your normal, very divine ability to heal. Your innate ability to heal is back and restored. So that is the main thing that my magic machine does, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yes, and it feels very soothing, I think grounded.
Yeah.
Was I didn't really know at all what to expect, and
Yeah.
it was a very grounding, like I just felt like, oh, okay, yeah, like I
Yeah.
got a cup of tea and just like,
Yeah.
okay.
So you just feel more like yourself, and it just feels so good. And it's not, you can't really compare it to like a drug that would make you feel sedated or anything, because it's not sedating. It just feels, or strengthened either. You just feel like, oh, and you can handle things, which is really cool. You
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
yeah, I would
Start by telling your story, because you have a good story.
Okay, well, I'm going to just welcome anybody who's listening. This is Talboy
Hmm.
Joy Podcast. I'm Erika, your host, and we are here talking about ways to get healthy, make shifts in our life, and feel empowered to make change. So if you're feeling stuck, frustrated, bored, feel like you can't figure out how to heal yourself, we're here just talking about lots of different ways to get more joy and make change and heal ourselves so that we can just love the life we're living here. So if that's the kind of topics you want to hear about, then you're in the right place. So I wanted to tell how I found you because I think it's the most fun story. I think I told it to April when we were talking about tarot and oracle cards, but I had woke up in the morning and just heard, um, go buy a deck of oracle cards, and I was like, what? Like, why did I hear that? And I just felt this like I need to go do it. And so I got up, called my daughter-in-law. I was like, hey, you want to go with me? And then I got there and she's like, where are we going? I was like, oh, I don't know. So I Googled, there's one store open because it was fairly early in the morning. And so we drove down there and met this lady down, I think it's Earth Lights, the name of it. I can't remember. Anyways, that's not the point. Anyways, we went in there and she is a very magical being too, but she had the Hedron News. It was like a little paper And I got my cards, and then I just noticed this paper, that I could pick up. And I was like, oh, I wonder if there's any classes or interesting articles in there. Picked it up, and you had wrote this article about celiac disease, and I am not diagnosed with that, but I was having extreme problems with eating gluten and dairy. And it gotten to the point where if I just accidentally even got a touch of it, just very sick, brain fog, lots of pain and aches and swelling, and just really uncomfortable. Just the stomach issues alone were debilitating for a few days. And so I told my husband, I was like, I don't know what this is, but this lady said that she got healed using this, and I'm so desperate. Like, if it does anything, it's gonna be worth it. And so that led me to reaching out to you and scheduling some sessions and having the experience. And for me personally, I went through some sessions, and one of the things I noticed was it's not uncomfortable. You're just sitting at ease in your office, and it's very peaceful and welcoming. And it was just a very relaxing experience. Um, and I left there feeling, like I said, more me, more grounded and relaxed. And I was like, well, that wasn't bad, but what I did also notice was I was having some tooth pain at the time, and I had some neck and back pain. And every session I had, I would immediately feel relief from those symptoms, which was like, it felt unreal, like to have somebody just hold this thing up to your neck, and then you're like, oh, my pain's gone. Fantastic.
It's
So,
confusing. It
yeah.
can't happen. How can it happen that fast?
Right. It
It's
was
confusing. Yeah.
very, yes, it was, I mean, it'd be nice to just have one in my house, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But, and then with my gluten issues, I have gotten through enough sessions that um, I have been able to eat gluten and a little bit of dairy and not die and didn't have the stomach stuff, and for me, if I keep at it, then it's different. But like, I literally took 2 weeks and like had a little bit each day, and it slowly became a problem again, not to the level it was, but it was not the same. And what I was sharing with you earlier is that I think one of the biggest things that happened for me is it took away, I didn't realize how much I was living in fear of accidentally eating foods that would just make me so sick and it's so in pain. It was just very stressful way to live, and just having that fear removed, because my body has healed enough that, like,
A little bit's okay.
if
Yeah.
yeah, here and there, that I'm fine. It has just been life changing. So like, I definitely was like, people need to hear about it. So I tell people all the time, because I know you've shared that it's effective with all sorts of things, not just stomach issues. So that's my own personal experience, is that it's been a big, big blessing for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I
So
remember too when you were getting treatments, you were traveling and you were so concerned about traveling and then you were fine because we were getting treatment. That was
yeah,
really cool too. It
yeah,
wasn't don't need to be stressed about traveling is stressful when you can't eat anything. That
yeah,
is like the number one. Don't go
yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah, it has definitely changed my life. So highly recommended on my part to anybody who has these stomach issues, for sure. So I
Yeah.
wanted you to just share a little bit about a bit about who you were prior to biophoton therapy, and then how did you find it for yourself and like come in
Oh, I
into
was
the
a
work?
completely different story. I was working in finance at HP. I was a financial analyst, but I was miserable. I had after the birth of my first daughter, Sophia, who's now 13. I was diagnosed with celiac disease. I had Hashimoto's. I was so inflamed. I could sleep 16 hours a day if anyone would let me, and then I would still be tired. I was so exhausted. I was miserable and really angry all the time. Like, if somebody bumped into me at the grocery store, I'd be like, ah! And that's not me. I really am truly. kind, you know,
Can't
but
even imagine you
I
like
was
that.
not feeling like myself. And, I really feel for people who are older and just not comfortable because I know what that feels like. And that's what I felt like. It was awful. Um, and I feel like I almost kind of got tricked into doing these treatments because I wouldn't have signed up for them had I known what they were. I was very skeptical. I was very grown up on Western medicine, like my family's all Western medicine, and I just wouldn't have been open to it. And I'm so glad when I signed up, I had to do 4 sessions. There was a waiting list. I waited, and my cousin said, her colleague had celiac and she didn't have it anymore. And I said, that's impossible. That can't happen. That's because it can't. According to Western medicine, it can't. Once you have an autoimmune disease, you have it for the rest of your life. You do not get healed from it. And she said, no, 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 she is. And my cousin is very down to earth, very smart. And so I believed her. And I signed up for these sessions. And, I went in for one and I was like, I'm not going to go back for the second one, but I had already paid for it. So I went back I went back for the second one and she's like, well, how's your inflammation? And I'm like, oh, that's better. Oh, how are you sleeping? Oh, that's also better. Like I had quite a few things that were much better, but I chalked it up to coincidence. Sometimes I did have a good day in a month, but after 4 sessions, I was convinced and I signed up for another 4 sessions. And after 8 sessions, I literally felt better than I had felt in years. It was life changing. And then after 12 sessions, she said, okay, go ahead and eat gluten. And I ate it and I was fine. And I couldn't even touch the gluten. I was so scared of
Hmm.
the terror that you have from food. But I was fine, and it was right before Christmas. I gained 20 pounds, all the food I could eat, and I was fine.
Wow,
It
that
was
is
great.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And then the Hashimoto's took longer, but the symptoms were mostly gone. I just felt so much more like myself, and it's a miracle. It really, really, really is. To think about and that's what kind of my passion about spreading the word. I don't feel like I want to self-promote at all, but I do feel like, oh my gosh, if I hadn't have known about it, what would my life be like? It would have been,
Yeah,
I don't even, I would just be a shell of a person by now. I don't even know if I would have made it till 41,
yeah.
It was really awful. It felt
Hmm.
really bad. And I didn't feel like I was a good mom because I didn't have that energy to be, and that's the most important thing. I want to be a good mom and,
Yeah, it's
that kind of,
so hard
yeah,
to show up and think and be kind when you are suffering and in pain or constantly living in fear of accidentally eating the right thing or, you know, um, living with chronic pain is just it's so challenging to show up as your best self and think
yeah,
or make good decisions or make good food choices because you're just so tired
yeah.
from it. It's so much more taxing. Yes, I'm so thankful I'm not in the middle of that mess anymore. So thankful. Oh, like you said, it's like you look back and you're like, I don't know how I even lasted as long as I did,
Yeah, yeah.
suffering.
It was really survival mode. It was tricky. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's how you heard about it. How did you end up then becoming someone who went through the schooling and um yeah.
Well, I don't. This is an interesting story because I was always intrigued by it, but I was really well, advanced in my career. I thought I was, yeah, I thought I was going to do that for the rest of my life, and so thinking of changing over completely, just was not out of my mind, completely out of my mind. But with my second child, when she's now almost 4, um, when I was pregnant with her, I was like, I got to do this. Like, it's very interesting. Like, I wonder if there's something to that, like where your children bring you these gifts. And I know I got a gift from my first child and got a gift from my second child. Oh, this is what you need to do because it is a gift. My job, my career now is so beautiful, so fulfilling. I see people heal all the time, and it's just so joyful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. So I think it was my second daughter who was like, okay, mom, got to do something
Time to
a
make
little
a
bit more
change.
in
Yeah.
line with what your gifts are, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you went through the schooling
Yes.
and then started practicing.
Yes. Well, and
Um,
I'm still back at school. I'm going back to school to be a doctor of natural medicine. I'm
mhm.
almost done. I feel like I keep saying that. It's been a long time, but yeah, it's PhD, so it takes a while. I'm going to write my dissertation, but yeah,
Being a mom
yeah,
and school and business,
yeah.
that's a lot.
And starting it all over. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So is there an intention to, at this kind of, I think maybe jumps to other questions I was going to ask, but like through doing the biophoton therapy, has it led to you learning more about other things that you're wanting to bring in or you have found to be helpful for
Oh,
clients?
I'm always looking for ways to make it faster, better. Yeah. I think that I mean the Biophoton is the best modality that I've ever found, and for sure, hands down. But I'm always looking for other things that can help speed up the process or make it faster or all, like as you do. You want people to heal, so you do
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah, but
Okay.
for sure, yeah, that school helped for sure. And even like the basics of nutrition, that's helpful to know. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. Hmm.
Obviously, you're somebody who loves to gain knowledge, and that's always a
Yeah,
good thing.
yeah.
Gives you more tools in your toolbox, right, to help people. Will you kind of dive in kind of really more specifically about what a session is like explain about it? And also, I found it super fascinating. You had kind of like a timeline of the things your body, like this stuff is getting worked on and it moves through the systems of,
Yeah,
can you talk about all of that a little bit so someone who's like trying to go what can kind of
yeah.
envision what a
How does this
session
work?
would be like?
Yeah, well, absolutely. So 3,000 years ago, the traditional Chinese medicine people found that there are meridians that run through your body, and a lot of people don't know what those are. And they are these light pathways that run through your body. And when I was learning about them, I definitely just shut them. I don't know. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I was like, that can't be true. But they recently, in I think 2010 or 2011, they put a radioactive isotope into one of the acupuncture points and watched it through a functional MRI system map through the body. It's exactly like the traditional Chinese medicine discovered 3,000 years ago. So it is also a new proven science that actually does exist. So what I do in the sessions is I use a pen and I measure acupuncture points on your hands and on your feet because that's where they all end and begin, or most of them do. And I look for disturbances. So the pen makes a sound and it will say yes or no, basically. And yes is a good sound, obviously, and then the no is makes it sound really sad.
Yeah,
And
like it
so
has
I'll look
tones, like
for
higher
yeah,
tone, lower tone, almost like higher
yeah,
vibe, lower vibe. Mhm.
or just like holding, at least hold what you can,
Yeah.
hold what you can, and it
Yeah.
doesn't when it doesn't hold, it's not a good one. So um so I look through the impulses that I have or the frequencies that I have and see if there's a frequency that will match in kind of counteract that low point. But I do have to work in a certain protocol, and the company's been around for a long time. The protocol's changed fairly recently, but the protocol is pretty rigid and robust. I mean, they're doing it for safety and efficacy. So like if I just follow the protocol, I know that I'm going to get very efficient results, and that's what I want. I want everybody to heal as fast as they can. Um, and and so what I have to start with first is this line right here, which is your hormone line. So I do hormones, and then I make sure your kidney, bladder are nice and strong because they're elimination organs, and we're detoxing when we do these treatments. And I need to make sure the kidney, bladder is nice and strong. And then the third one in the line is your teeth and jaw point, which usually is just a one and done thing. And then step four, already we're working on digestive issues. So I really like digestive issues because it's right there at the beginning of the protocol and we can get to it right away. So yeah, and then there are other ones too, like circulation and all the other things. And that the very last one we do is liver. And they're just I'm just naming the meridians that run through the body. And liver is the last one that we work through. And by the time we get to the liver, usually everything else is all sorted out. So yeah, but liver can hold a lot of causes for the problems too. So it's
Sure.
important to get to the liver. Yeah, make
Yeah.
sure that's all figured out. And I don't know if people know, but in traditional Chinese medicine, now that this all the system has been proven, certain organs hold different emotions. And
Mm,
liver seems to be the emotion for anger. And so I
mm,
really like to treat that on people. And it's interesting because usually there's not a lot of emotional release or not a lot to note. But by the time I get to the liver, I always have to do a warning. And I'd say like maybe 90% of my clients really have an anger outbreak after after we treat the liver. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's like a release. And I remember when I treated my liver, I remember getting so mad. And I don't think I'm an angry person. I'm not. I don't think I'm holding on to a lot of anger. But it was like something set me off, like, and I would be angry for it, but it would have been like, okay, I'm angry, get over it. And I was just seeing red. And but it's good because you have to detox and get rid of the emotional component too. So that's fascinating and not usually represented when I talk about this healing, because healing is, I usually just talk about the physical, but there's definitely an emotional component to the healing that goes on. And I wonder too, I believe that a lot of healing needs to be done because of the emotion might be the cause of that issue. So it's all together,
all combined.
not
That was one of my
necessarily.
questions was,
Yeah,
do you find that it's a tied so I love that they are learning that specific organs are tied to certain emotions. It's so fascinating.
yeah, yeah.
So um because of that, does that mean that if somebody has had some trauma and they feel really blocked around it, can that prevent it working, or is that something that usually ends up getting broken free and kind of being easier to uh, process? Because it sounds like you
Good,
did it
good
and then it
question.
helped anger move through. So I'm like, is it
Yeah.
something that biophotons, do you feel like it maybe helps kind of get stuff unstuck and pass through emotionally?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. But I don't, unless the emotion is ongoing, I don't think it will slow me down. And emotions are just energetic anyway, and I'm working with basically energy. And I think that I don't think that that's going to slow me down unless you're going through like a very frustrating process at the moment. Then it might take longer because it keeps coming up. But then you have to look at why we get sick anyway. And, you know, do we get sick because of emotions? Maybe. Possibly. Do we get sick because of environmental things? Yes. Or
Mhm.
sometimes I think we just get sick because it's probably destiny or part of our life story, like our life path. And then that's the harder one to work with. But the other two are super easy. The
Okay,
physical and yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah, I know when I think about how um for me personally, I believe people like choose like lessons and things they're going to learn, and sometimes
yes,
ailments and health challenges can be how it
can be part of
manifests
it.
or how
Yeah,
we go through it. Yes,
yeah.
okay. That totally makes sense. So you're
Mhm.
doing the acupuncture, they're sitting, there's
Yeah, no needles though. It's just a pen. They're sitting. It's relaxing. Makes
needles.
a sound. Yeah. And then there are this is the weird part, or people think it's weird. There's these glass rods that you hold. So we are light beings. We are literally glowing. It's just a glow that we can't see. So you would just imagine I'm completely just this glowing light holding these light rods. And one of the light rods is feeding into the machine and the other one is receiving. And so there's no light, no external light that the machine is giving. It's only your body's light, which is so beautiful. And some people, I think you, especially sensitive people, can actually feel the process and it feels good. Like
Yeah,
tell us what you felt because I
yeah.
can't feel it. I just sit there. I'm like, is it working? I don't know.
You're like, is there anything, Phil? Yeah,
Is it subtle?
I do
Yeah,
remember feeling kind of like a warmth. It was more like a warm, soothing feeling. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I don't know how else to describe besides that I could, but I could definitely feel that I flow's not the right word either, but there was like a move, some sort of
yeah,
energetic movement, but it was like a warm, comforting feeling too. So
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah,
have feeling that. Yeah.
I think
Um,
that's amazing. I wish I could feel that. Sometimes I flow, like I know where the meridians are on the body, not just
yeah.
on the fingers and and the feet. And so sometimes I feel maybe a little like flutter of energy in the meridians that I'm working on. But
Hmm.
I mean, only if I really pay attention. Ugh, I want to feel
You're
it.
really dialed in.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
is
makes
it
sense.
working?
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. Okay. And then um I know there's sometimes like let's say I go to the chiropractor. There'll be times
Mhm.
I'm like really sore afterwards or even massage. Like sometimes I almost have a day or two of discomfort or achiness or soreness. Um my personal experience was that I never really felt any sort of like there was no after effects that felt really negative. I think there was one time that I just felt like I needed a nap, but the rest of
Yeah.
the times I felt like refreshed, really.
Yeah.
Um, and so have you noticed that to be the norm, that most people don't really have any after
Yeah,
negative
most
after
people don't
effects?
have any after. The first one, I'd say 90% of my clients need a nap after, or either that or they go to bed. They're fine, and then at 7 p.m. they're like, I gotta close my eyes. And
Mhm.
they're really tired. And some people, I think maybe 10, 15% don't feel anything. They're like, you told me I was gonna be tired and I wasn't tired. Some people get a mild headache after the first one and maybe sometimes even after the second one. And that is just because they're not drinking enough water. So that's an easy fix because you are detoxing. It's a very gentle detox, but you are detoxing your whole body, not just, the gut or the where I'm working on your whole body. Even your liver is detoxing on every single treatment. And so usually by the first, I'd say two, three maximum, and three if you're like really chronically ill, then maybe you're tired after the third one. But the fourth one, fifth one, after that, you're good. Most people are feeling gosh, I've heard it said, and this is how I feel. I feel glowy. I don't know how to describe it other than that. But I feel more like myself. I feel grounded. I feel centered. I feel good. It feels like I just got a massage because it's like an inside massage. I don't know. It just feels like I just feel healthy and relaxed. And then it's like the colors are brighter. Sometimes I can see sharper. Um, that kind of feeling. I don't know. How did you feel after you feel like that?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time for me, I just had more of like a calmness and like an absence of the pain and discomfort that I was having when I arrived. And like I said, there was only the one time that I felt like I needed a nap, but the rest, and maybe I think yes, there was a need to go to bed at a maybe a little bit earlier time, but it wasn't like fatigue. Like after I had acupuncture with needles. The first three times I had a raging headache. I felt like I had the flu.
Oh no.
I I did not
Mm,
feel good. So this was amazing because I left feeling like, oh, okay, I'm not hurting. Like I feel good and grounded and nice and calm. So to me, I was like, okay, yeah, this is um, yeah, it made me more inclined to want to keep trying where the acupuncture with the needles, like, oh, it feels so good. I'm struggling to, it's hard to get yourself back there when you think you're going to feel kind of poopy afterwards.
yeah. Well, and not to mention they're poking you with needles. That's just
Yeah, well, there's that. There
uncomfortable.
is that. Yes, this is a much more preferred because you were pressing spots on my hand and on my feet. I don't know if that's what
Mhm.
you do for everybody.
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but there wasn't, yeah, so it's not like needles in your neck and things like acupuncture is at all. It was just on those
Mm-mm.
spots along, um,
Yeah. And
fingers.
just poking, not a
Yeah.
needle,
Yeah,
just
it's
with
just
the
like a
pen. So
pressing, almost like if you had a
yeah.
ballpoint pen not open and you just touched the spot was how it felt like with some pressure for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Not too bad.
Yeah, no. I was going to ask, can you share some, maybe some specific types of different ailments or things that you've witnessed, turnarounds on? Like, so people just have different ideas that this isn't just for celiacs, that what other kinds of things do people have success with treatment around?
Yeah. Well, I had celiacs and I had Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid
Yeah.
autoimmune. So autoimmune, it does really well. Gut stuff, it does really well, and it's nice because I start treating the gut almost right away. Um, Chronic pain that helps. I've helped with cancers, even people who had given up on chemo, and it still helped. So that's beautiful. And it can work in conjunction, which is nice. Um, with conventional
Hmm.
medicine, so that is nice. And biophotons can be in conjunction with a lot of Western medicine stuff, so that's nice. It doesn't have to be one or the other or a choice, so that's good. But
Yeah.
my mom had arthritis, and that's gone away. She couldn't open a jar or a baby gate, and now she can do that. So
Well,
that's wonderful. And you don't think that that stuff goes away.
I'm thinking of
Um,
somebody else I need to send to
yeah,
you.
I know. Well, I mean the list goes on and on. I mean it's endless. Everybody needs it. It's not just like when you're chronically ill. I think it's also very preventative, and it does feel good when you're getting them. I like it. It's like a massage. It's either get a massage or get a biophoton. And I definitely get a biophoton because it's preventative as well. And I think I think they feel amazing. But also just to prevent and get away. So I do think everybody needs them, but when you are chronically ill, they're life changing. So yeah, yeah. I think um yeah, it helps with everything except for things that are structural. So like if you've got a disc that's out in your back, I can put the light on it and help with the pain and the inflammation, but I'm not going to actually get the disc back in, or that kind of structural thing. Or I have scoliosis. I'm never going to get my back the right way, but I can help when it is painful, because scoliosis does get painful. I can put the light on and it helps the pain. So yeah,
Okay.
that kind of
That was
thing.
one of my
Yeah.
questions was like,
Yeah.
what is there anything in particular it's not for or
Yeah, but everything else, yeah, especially if it's a chronic issue or a something that related with your tissues or tumors, cancer, that kind of thing, it does help.
hmm.
Yeah.
And you even, had recommendations for that, even with dental stuff like so with like toothaches and things like that too, right? So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. So okay, let me make sure. Oh, I was gonna ask like also kids, like who can do it? Is there any restrictions on who it can be used on?
It's very safe because it's a circuit of your body's own light. So it is very safe. I started treating my baby when she was 1 month old. And in fact, they have you do on the very first treatment, and if you need it, they give you a whiplash treatment. So I remember doing that on my baby, and she was literally 1 month old, and I had her just lie down on the light things, and she had the most blissful face that I've ever seen a baby. I wish if I had known, I would have taken a video. Apparently, like, and then I read more as I was studying more about biophotons, and I read more on the forums that they have, and it's like a known thing that babies, the very first time they get the whiplash treatment, and it is a traumatic experience to be born, and
Yeah.
so that would feel very good on a baby. And had I known, I would have gotten a video of that face, because babies don't even smile at that age. It was the most blissful baby face I've ever seen her
Um,
do. And so I started treating her when she was 1 month old. She had eczema. It was really, really bad. And yeah, but finally I figured out what the right impulse was on the biophotons, because she's tricky to measure. Babies are tricky to measure because their acupuncture points don't really fully develop until they're 3. So I really don't feel comfortable treating anyone until they're 3. But my own baby, I knew it was safe, and I did it on her. And
okay.
so it was trickier to figure out what was going on with her. But when I did figure it out, she got really itchy. And then that night and the very next day, everything was completely out and gone. There was no more eczema on her little legs, her arms. It was incredible. And it was fascinating to see her itch it out, like if she was
Yeah.
detoxing that eczema, which was fascinating. And she hadn't had it since, and she was just a teeny tiny baby
Yeah. Like
when
how
she had
many
it, and it
did
was really
that take?
bad.
Was
Yeah.
that in like one session or was that like several sessions that it took?
For her,
And
it was several, and you're really just kind of guessing with teeny tiny babies. That's why I don't feel comfortable doing other people's babies, just my own.
yeah.
And you're really just kind of guessing because you want to make they're so hard to do it. I remember doing it while she was sleeping, and she'd wake up, and
You're like
measuring her.
trying to get her while
We're
she's
trying.
laying still.
Yeah. So for her, it did take a couple months to get the eczema out of the way. And yeah, and it would.
Yeah. So that means like you could even use it on like, because I'm thinking if it helped my neck and back pain, like even them having like kid boo-boos and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
colds and things
Oh
like
yeah.
that. You
My daughter, she was playing with my exercise equipment. Not that I ever did it, but she was playing with it. It was like I don't know, something that slid down and slapped her hand, and it was really heavy. And she was probably, oh, she was real little at the time, and her hand got all like puffed up and was already getting black. And I put the light on right away, and I just kept doing it, and she was in tears and fighting back tears, and literally before my eyes, it didn't even have a bruise, and her hand was fine after that. Kids heal so fast; it's incredible. That was like a miracle. I wish I had that on video too, because that was incredible. And that your mama heart, you're like, what can I do? Like you want to help them, and I was so grateful that I could,
yeah.
and I did. Yeah.
It sounds like it could be something that people could definitely try if they're, when they're like 3 and older, like they're struggling with eczema or something, that they should definitely be open to giving this a try as well then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's handy that you've had it in the house.
It is handy. I think everybody needs one. For
So,
access to one, come on over. I'll zap you if you have a boo boo.
yeah. So do you uh so do you recommend like certain supplements to help, or do you feel like taking a break while people are start trying it initially? Is it better to take a break,
Yeah.
get
I
more?
I do prefer it if people are not on any supplements. I don't want anything messing with what I'm doing. And I like it too if they're not on any medication. I feel like those are the fastest people who are not on medication and not on supplements. There are supplements that I like, but I only if you need them. I like to test for them. If you need it. I think like magnesium, for example, is one that we're chronically low in as a population. But I make sure you need it before you just take it. Or, they're, if you look at the owners, they're all owned by big pharma, and just be careful of what you put in your body. And a lot of them are not third party tested, and a lot of them have been found to have heavy metals in them. So you think you're doing something very healthy for yourself, and you're not. And I also think it's really important to trust your own body. I remember I used to love supplements, and I still will buy them. I like I'm a sucker for the marketing. I want to, yeah, you're always wanting to test the next best thing, but I think you have to trust your body. Like I think you're talking about muscle testing, but I think even if you take them and you're like, I don't know if I feel that great after those 2 magnesium pills, maybe that's not the one for you.
Yeah.
I think that is something that we don't buy into enough, that you really do need to just check in, better than anybody what you need. So
Yeah,
yeah, do what
definitely.
feels good.
And I
Yeah.
remember I was taking probiotics and
Yeah.
digestive enzymes when I started working with you. And I actually you were doing the test thing and you're like, I think you might actually be taking too much probiotics. And so I backed off, and then the thing was like, it was
It's
happier.
happier.
It was
Yeah.
that I was actually taking too much of that. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, and so it was actually a good reminder for me to do my muscle testing with my supplements, even daily, just because one day your
Yeah.
body will be
Sometimes
like,
you
yeah,
don't need them.
day, and
Yeah.
today, oh, you're good. So that is
Yeah.
practice as you're giving your body the chance to give its input on what it wants. I'm sure,
Yeah.
I'm not speaking to prescriptions and I'm not a doctor myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So of course, follow your
Yeah.
doctor's
Follow your doctor. Absolutely follow your doctor.
instructions.
But
Yes.
yeah, but if you're just taking them willy-nilly because you think they're good for you, check in with yourself. Make
Yeah.
sure they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so we already covered like what it's not for. Do you notice a pattern of who you see and treat the most? Like who, like is it women,
Oh
men?
yeah.
Okay.
Totally women, and
Okay.
they're totally the more spiritual type. And I love that because they know they know it works. I think that everybody else is such a harder buy-in. Like,
Yeah.
how can this possibly be working? And I love those people too. Actually, people who are skeptical. I was one of them. It still works. You don't. It's not placebo. Like if it was placebo, it wouldn't have worked for me, and it wouldn't have worked for a lot of my clients. I do have a lot of
I,
clients who
I was
are
very
very
like,
skeptical.
I'm
Yeah,
desperate, so I'm here, but I don't
yeah.
know. So
Those are yeah. I get a lot desperate.
yeah, desperate enough to try anything because I had
Yeah,
tried everything else I could think of at that point.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Desperate, and this is gentle, and it's not going
yeah.
to poke me. And yeah,
Yep.
that's
So
that's what you do.
even
Yeah,
if you're feeling like, mm, I would say if you have something that's bothering you, you haven't been able to make progress, just try it. Just be open
yeah,
to
yeah,
trying.
yeah.
Um,
Definitely worth a try.
who do you think would benefit the most that doesn't commonly seek out this as a modality for healing?
Oh, yeah, I think those skeptical people,
The skeptical people are okay.
the skeptical
Yeah.
people, like, I just want to go back to HB and just zap them all. They're so stressed out.
You you get a
You
zap.
need it.
You get
You
a
need
zap.
Biophoton. You need Biophoton. In fact, it's become kind of like an insult in my household because it's like somebody's a little cranky or a little off. You need Biophoton. I just want to go into the finance world and be like, yeah, you definitely need them. They will feel so much better. They will do their job so much better. They will, oh yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you
Because when you're
imagine?
stressed out, you're not making good decisions. You have to like ground and like be grounded and make those
Yeah,
decisions from a place of
yeah. I was just
safety,
thinking,
not
wouldn't that be amazing if that was like a benefit or something you brought in as a business owner to bring it in as something people could sign up for at lunch hours or something, like how
I would do it. Yeah.
some companies do that, like
Yeah.
they have a gym and all this stuff. It's like, can you imagine if that was something that, yeah. So if you own a business and you feel like you need your employees to be happy and healthier,
Yeah.
bring them in.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
you do a better job if you're feeling good. You have more focus and all that. I
Yeah.
remember one of my main symptoms was brain fog, and I remember because we had just moved back here when I just started the biophotons. Like I was maybe here 2 or 3 months before I got treated, but I had to train at a new job. I was living in Europe, and I moved back here, um, and I was training for this new job, and oh my gosh, the girl who was training me, she was so smart, and she was just and I was like, ah, my poor brain, I can't. This the brain fog is
Staying
so
in
so
there. It's not
awful.
getting in and it's not
I know.
staying.
I'm not staying. I don't know what you're talking about anymore. But after 2 or 3 months, when I had, a couple of treatments, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm finally getting things. Like I'm better. I can focus. I can understand what she was talking about. So, yeah, it's huge. People need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can remember being at a job where it got so bad that I had to take a nap at lunchtime too. Like when I was at the peak of things being really bad, I couldn't even make it to my workday without napping. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not fun when you're struggling with those things at all. So I think we kind of touched on this is like if there was any other modalities that you like to recommend pairing it with often, but you said it works with a lot of other things. So can you think of any specific other healing modalities you'd like to see it paired with?
Yeah. No, nothing specific. And honestly, I do prefer if they just do the back photons because I feel like they do better. But like if people are doing Western medicine or are on medication or are doing all that stuff, it does work in conjunction with. You can do it with acupuncture, although I would time it differently. And I don't know why you would do it with acupuncture because we really are doing acupuncture of the whole body just in a very gentle way with no needles. So I don't think you need acupuncture with it, but you could. And like even massage, you could do it, but I would time it differently because the way the treatments work is they stay in your body for 3 days after you get your session. So I don't like anybody to do anything that's gonna mess that mess that up in those 3 days. I want you to fully take on what we accomplished in the session. So then after those 3 days, you can do whatever you want, but I want you to stay good for those 3 days. Rest. Don't even work out too hard. Just
And you even
yeah.
said not going into places that are like big buildings. Like our
Big
big box
buildings. Yeah. Don't go to
store.
Costco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go to, if you're gonna go to Costco, come like right before you come to see me.
I
Because that
remember
will,
I
that will
started to
just,
rearrange my
yeah.
shopping. You don't live that far, so I would be like, "Oh, I'll go out." No, I gotta go before because I can't go for a few days afterwards. Yeah.
You tell me to go quick because I got some frozen food in the car. Because I did live next to Costco.
Yeah. Well, you know what, though? I think when you are somebody who starts to become even more aware of how your body feels and your energy and your emotions, and so many of us are really empathic and aren't aware of that, and that we're absorbing other people's energy and emotion all day long. If we're out in public and like any interaction that we're exchanging and bumping into other people's energy fields and what they're feeling. And I definitely notice now, like really, like if I go to the store and I don't kind of put on like in the morning, like I do some exercises where I'm kind of putting on like my what do you call it? Armor, like
Yeah, yeah,
my energetic armor, like
yeah,
doing some prayer, intention, meditation in the morning. And I accidentally left the house when I had sat down and like meditated and was receiving information, and I hadn't put my armor on. And I went into the store and I instantly had a migraine. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. Like my body was having aches everywhere. And I was like, I felt like, oh, I felt almost like anxiety. And I don't have anxiety from going to the store. And I was like, what is going on? And I was like, oh no, I came into the store without my gear on. Like I went in wide open. But it was amazing how it hit me like a freight train, like all these physical symptoms. And I was just like, yuck. And I lit before I got
yeah,
in my car, I was like, okay, everything get off me that got on me. Like,
yeah,
and kind of establish that. So I know like as we become more aware and start to work with healing our energy, if we do not make sure and set that intention to have that intentional
yeah,
energetic field um, strengthened and set in place, like it will affect you if you go out and interact with people. If you don't set that intention of like, nope, this is my space, this is where I'm staying,
yeah,
nothing's coming in. So that totally leads me to you do have that aura. Um, is it a scan? What do you call it?
yeah. So it uses Kirlian photography. I don't know if anyone's heard of that, but you can look up Kirlian photography and they have pictures of like an apple cut in half, and apples have their biophotons, and their biophotons are emitting all this light. There's even Kirlian photography of like a leaf, and the leaf
Yeah,
will be,
you can
exactly like
see
the
that.
leaf. And they've even done experiments where they've cut a leaf and then still done the Kirlian photography, and half the leaf is gone, half the leaf is out, but it will still do the whole shape of the
Oh,
leaf.
the whole thing
So it
will show.
really kind of leads to what are biophotons, like are they, and they think that the biophotons come from the DNA. So is it just this energetic blueprint that is before the physical, like
Mhm,
guiding guiding the physical to become reality, how
mhm.
things grow. Like they think that biophotons are the key component in cell differentiation. So like when you put a cell into a petri dish and you're like, okay, let's grow an ear or whatever, and they can do that. Well, how does it know to grow an ear? How does this cell speak to this cell? They think it's from the biophotons.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
opens up a whole spiritual, fascinating thought process.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, this Kirlian photography is what I have in my office. It's a little camera that takes pictures of your fingerprints. So and it shows the biophotons that are emitted from your fingerprints. And it uses Korean acupuncture that divides. So it'll divide your thumb and say, this is your left eye. This is your whatever, your throat, and it will map your aura. And it can by the voltage that it shows from your fingers, it can see your energy level, it can see your stress level, it can see if there is an incoherence in your thyroid, it can see like gut issues. You're not supposed to eat a couple hours before you take the photo. And I don't usually tell my clients don't eat because we're going to take the photo. So sometimes gut issues show up anyway just because you're eating. Um, but you can see that, and it is very, and it also shows chakras. I don't know how that played, how they figured out how to do that, but the chakras for me has always been spot on. People who like I had a girl and her heart chakra was way, way over to one side. And I was like, oh, are you sad? And she just started breaking down and crying because she had just lost her puppy or something, or
Oh,
and broken up with her
mhm.
boyfriend. And I was like, oh yeah, you are sad. So it is interesting how this little camera can show where you are emotionally as well as physically. And the scans that they do, they say, yeah, one is fun, but four is where the real science comes into play because you really want to see where you're consistently out of whack, and that's where you need to be working on. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a cool little tool to show, but it uses biophotons, so it's part of my practice. Usually, it's just a fun thing because what I do anyway is with the biophotons, it's helpful to see. I at the beginning when I just got the machine or the biophoton or the picture camera thing, I was doing it for everybody, and it was interesting to see the progression. And so you can see how maybe you start off really, your aura is really weak, or your light body is really weak. And as the weeks go by, you see it strengthen. You see the areas that we're working on get back into balance. You do see the progression, and that is pretty cool. Because otherwise you don't get a visual, you just know how you feel, and
Yeah.
how you feel sometimes too. I had to have her tell me you were feeling this way, this way, this way, and I was like, really, is it that bad? And I had to really think about and remember how bad it was, because it's so gradual and gentle the way that you progress and you're feeling good, and then it becomes just the norm. You wake up feeling normal, and so when you're healing like that and you feel good, you're like, oh yeah, I always felt this way. And no, you didn't. So it's nice to have the visual as well as the details of your notes of how bad you really were feeling before. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I literally
kind of
just
cool.
found my journal entry from right before I started seeing you, and I was
Yeah.
writing about how I was feeling overall health wise, and I was miserable. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot how bad I am a lot better. I was like, wow,
People forget.
you
They
do.
forget.
Once you
I
start
think
feeling
it's
better,
yeah,
you you do very quickly forget. I guess it's like the whole childbirth thing. You forget how painful
you
it is.
forget. Do it again.
Oh, this that was fun.
That was bad.
Oh, so one of the questions I was going to ask is like, what do you see in the future for biophoton? Like, do you see it going somewhere being more widely used? Um,
Oh yeah. It has to be. That is my hope because it's so healing. It's so gentle. It's the best way. There's nothing that's hurting or manipulating thing. It's not a drug that is messing up with other values or giving you any side effects. It is just making your body work as it's meant to work. Like you cut your finger, your body innately knows how to heal itself. Your body innately knows how to heal itself. Let's just get you back into balance so that you can do that. And so yeah, it has to be the future. It's so gentle, so beautiful. The process is just so, I don't know. It's divine. It's amazing. Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
reminds. So when you say incoherence, that reminds me of like Joe Dispenza talks about. So is it the same
Yes.
work where he talks about like people have the
Brain
ability
and heart.
to make change when they get their brain, heart, all of that incoherence together? Is that like same talk?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
And
definitely
he's put a lot
feels
of
that
science
way
into that
to
too.
me. I've done some of that work with Joe Dispenza, the brain and heart coherence. I do those meditations. The Heart Math Institute. I have Sherry Palmer. Yeah, I'll have to introduce you to her. She teaches the heart math, brain heart coherence. She teaches how to do that.
Okay.
And I've done that work with her, and that was amazing. But when you do it yourself, it does feel a lot like when you're in coherence after a biophoton session. It feels very similar which is cool.
Okay, I'll have to get
Yeah,
that book information from you and I'll put it in
yeah.
the show notes for
Oh no,
sure.
she's local. Sherry's here.
Oh, she's
Sherry, yeah,
local. Oh,
yeah,
I need,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
You gotta meet her. Yeah,
Okay, now I'm really excited.
yeah.
Okay, wait. Okay, yes. I haven't met her. You said her name is
You
Sherry?
might. Yes, you. I think you do know her actually from intention group
Okay.
for
For
the
the
first one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. I was like, wait a
Yeah,
minute, I think I remember that name.
yeah.
Okay, it's been a minute, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, so is it available everywhere? So like we're in the Boise, Idaho area and
Yes.
there are practitioners here, but is it everywhere?
Yeah, there are a lot of practitioners here. It seems to be a hub for the practice. And the lady who healed me was a great healer, and that's why people are popping up everywhere. I I know that the company has limited the production of the machines and to like 400 and 400 around the world. So they are around the world. There's in Australia, there's everywhere. I know they're working in Dubai right now to make another medical device to in the hospital. So that's kind of cool. But I don't, yeah, yeah. There's not really a good network to find them. So go
Oh,
ahead and reach out to me if you live somewhere else, and happy to help you find somebody.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, we're definitely blessed to have the
a
options
lot of
in this
practitioners here. Yeah.
area. Yeah. So what else did doing this open up for you spiritually, like in your energetic spiritual beliefs and experiences? Did it open up anything for you doing
Oh,
this?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just look back when I was, in front of the computer all day long, and you just when you're in that kind of state, you are just cut off. You don't have time to think about like the more existential things, like what are we? What are we doing here? Why are we here? And when I got healed, already that was a miracle, and that made me think of things. But I also think that the biophotons themselves, what are they actually doing, or what is the healing process doing when you're getting the treatment? And I think it is clearing things out of the way. And what could that be? Like, I mean, viruses, bacteria, yes, getting out of the way, but I think they could also be spiritual blockers. I think viruses and bacteria can block you spiritually. And I think when you clear those out of your way, or even just pain is a spiritual blocker. You're not, when you're sick, you don't meditate very well. If you've got a headache, you can't think about connecting to the divine.
Oh,
You're just sick. And so I think when that opens up, I think there is something that or clears out of the way, you're able to connect spiritually, and you're able to meditate, and you're able to pray and connect with a greater being. And um I think that is a beautiful thing. I don't talk to everybody who does biophotons with me about this stuff, but I those who I do, they've definitely noticed as well. It's interesting. There was a Reiki practitioner who said, "I can hold the light better. I can stay in a session longer, and my sessions are stronger." And so I think that's even cool. How you can that flow of divine
yeah.
light is stronger. It's
That
beautiful.
totally
Yeah,
makes sense if it's putting it into coherence again, that it would make
yeah,
it more powerful and effective. Like I love
yeah,
that's I didn't even think about that. How cool. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So like yeah, that totally makes sense. Um, so I have experienced you being an incredibly generous person in being you're like a super connector. And it seems like you do draw in and magnetize people that are leaders in healing and light work and
I do
um
like to connect people, but
yeah.
but also you are a very special person, Erica. I'm so grateful to have met you. So I want to introduce you to everybody.
Well, I am so thankful because I just think, oh my gosh, you started an introduction for me and connected to me to people that really made me feel like I found my tribe here. And, when you move to a new area, it can be really hard to find that group of people where you can just talk about all things and not feel like people are like, what?
Yeah.
And Yeah, it's just been amazing. I will forever be thankful for finding you because you wrote that article that time and I could find you and I think you really exude or kind of live the example of like the book that The Power of Eight around the work of intention. And you invited me into an intention group and I I don't know if you caught my episode on murmuration in the birds and how I learned about, that it starts with one bird paying attention to the seven closest birds
Yeah.
and working together, like staying in alignment and integrity with the nearest seven birds. And I just think like you are and so then I'm like, oh, that's eight. That's the number eight again. With
8. Yeah,
that book by
beautiful.
Linda Taggart, right?
I love it.
And
It all ties back.
yes, and so it's just been an amazing experience to like be a part of these groups where you start to connect and do what it to me feels like that whole murmuration thing birds are doing, where they're flying in this beautiful formation. Like I feel like you are somebody who does a beautiful job of connecting people and connecting that web of light and healing and love. And so I just want to acknowledge you for that because
Thank
that's
you.
definitely one of your superpower gifts. And I'm forever thankful for it. So I would love it if you would share with me your definition of joy. I always love to ask everybody that.
Oh, I love this question because it can be so much. Oh, so sorry. I didn't prepare anything and now I feel like totally, totally off because I knew you were going to ask that question. I'll be like, I'll just be able to answer it. And now I'm like drawing a blank. But yeah, definition of joy is, I don't know, it's just being around my kids, I think. But I didn't want to say that. So sorry.
Oh, that's what I expected you to say. I was like, she's gonna
Did you
definitely
really?
tell me how much her family brings her joy.
Yeah, just being around those girls. They're so cute.
Yeah,
I don't want to say that though. I don't know.
there is nothing wrong with that because you know what?
Yeah,
Like being around, when I have game night and I get to be around my grown kids and then the grandkids are
yeah,
around, like when they leave, I'm just like, my mom heart's full of love and joy. So like I think that's another beautiful definition is like family and the joy of being in the
family. Yeah,
presence of children and the joy kids have the ability to just be so present and express joy over even little stuff. So it's contagious.
yeah,
See how
yeah. I love that.
it's a good
Yeah,
reminder. Kids are a great reminder of that. And I even remember when my kids got a little older, almost out of high school, there were no littles in our life. And I found a journal where I said, like, I really missed the magic and the joy of that stage where there's just more awareness being and the expression of it when you have little kids around. Like it just makes it really tangible and easy to plug into.
yeah, yeah. Well, and it goes so fast.
Mhm.
My oldest is 13 and my youngest is 3, and I see that big difference in how fast it goes. And you just have to enjoy every single little moment, even though it's hard, you know, because it's hard. I
Yeah,
feel like you're running around. It's like the busiest time of your life when you have a little kid, and but it's the best time. It's really beautiful, really
yeah,
really lovely. Yeah, so
yeah,
joyful, and they bring so much joy. They just and the way they see things and remind you how life can just be magical. It's amazing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah,
They're still not disconnected from it when they're fresh out.
yeah,
They're still close to when they're in those younger years. It's fun to watch. It definitely is.
yeah. I love that.
Having the grandkids around has brought that back in,
I
but
love that. I can't wait to be a grandparent. I think that's got to be the sweet spot. Where you get to be around the cute little kids, but you also get to take a
more
nap.
rest, you get
Yeah,
more sleep. Yes.
yeah,
I will say that, yes, the sleep piece of it is pretty nice as a grandparent. Oh, well, I
really
love
great.
that. I think it's a valid, wonderful definition, if that's what joy is to you. So, how can people find you if they're interested in learning more about the biophoton therapy, learning where to find a practitioner near them?
Yeah, I've got a ton of information on my website, not just about what I do, but also like the research articles that kind of prove and show how it works. So if
Mhm.
people are more interested, go ahead and do www.milanowellness at milanowellness.me is my website, or Instagram at Milano Wellness. And
One
happy
L.
to
Milano is one L.
yes, like Milan in Italy. That's where I used to live. That's why it's called Milano Wellness.
I love that
And
little bit.
And then, yeah, go ahead and DM me if you're looking for a practitioner and you don't live in Boise or Idaho. Go ahead and message me somehow, and I'll get back to you and make sure you find somebody.
That's that
Happy to.
generous
Yeah,
connector energy you've got.
yeah,
Yes, and I will have your information on my community resources page, and I'll put it in the show notes for the episode too, so that people can
yeah.
find you to connect if they are interested in checking out or trying it or learning more about it, because it can be life-changing. So is there anything else that you're wanting to share, or I should have asked, that you want to share with the world that
No, I
you're
think
doing right
I
now?
think we did great. I
Okay.
just am so grateful for you, Erica, and I
Oh,
just think you're an amazing person, and you totally changed my life. I don't know if you know that, but
oh,
you definitely have. You're
oh.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful biophotons around you. Beautiful soul. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. That's always nice to hear. I'll receive that today.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
your time. I know that this is going to help somebody. I know someone out there needed to hear about this as an option to heal themselves and feel
I
better.
hope so. Yeah. It's a
Thank
beautiful
you.
thing. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.